has been well studied and it has been the attraction of many researchers. So today I am going to talk about zero divisor graphs of commutative rings. Especially I will be having these notions throughout my talk. R stands for a commutative ring with identity. Of course, any commutative ring contains at least two elements, 0 and 1. And Z of R is the set of all zero divisors. For example, A is also non-zero, B is also non-zero. If the product is 0, they are supposed to be called as zero divisors of R. Especially because of the non-existence of multiplicative inverses in the case of rings, such elements exist. I used to tell my students that always this friendship should not be annihilating force. For example, A is joining MSc Mathematics in an institution, B is also joining the same institution. While joining, they are non-zero, they are good enough. By a flux of time, when they stay in the hostel, they may become zero. And ultimately, it is an annihilating factor, so one should not get it the same. And we denote Z star of R, the set of all non-zero zero divisors of R, because naturally 0 is the universal annihilator of R, thereby Z star of R denotes set of all non-zero zero divisors. Of course, people know that an element of a commutative ring is nilpotent, provided if a power n is equal to 0 for some non-zero integer, non-zero positive integer n. Of course, we take it as smallest also. So naturally, when a power n is equal to 0, a into a power n minus 1 is 0, a power n minus 1 is non-zero, therefore a is a zero divisor. So all nilpotent elements are part of zero divisors. According to Kaplanski, if you take a full ring R and zero divisors of R, regular element means an element which is not a zero divisor is called regular element. Of course, participants, they may recall the fact that there is a concept of von Neumann regular. An element of a ring is called regular if there exists a B such that A equal to ABA. But in our context, regular element means it is not a zero divisor. I will come for specific examples a little bit later. And of course, as I said in the few moments ago, an element is not a zero divisor means it may possess multiplicative units, multiplicative inverses. In that case, they are designated as units of R and they are denoted by U of R. So mostly I'll be concentrating about regular elements and units. Okay. First of all, in order to have as a warm-up practice, just I will give very few examples or certain facts about elements in a commutative ring. Okay. You take R is equal to Z4, the congruent modulo classes of integers. It contains 4 elements, 0 bar, 1 bar, 2 bar, and 3 bar. Naturally, as I said, 0 bar is a universal annihilator. Therefore, it is a zero divisor. 0 bar into A bar is 0 for all A. In the case of 2, 2 into 2 is equal to 4, congruent modulo 4, thereby that is 0, it is a non-zero zero divisors. Of course, you can see that 1 is a unit, 1 into 1 is 1, 3 into 3, 9, modulo 4, 1, therefore that is also 3 itself, 3 is its inverse. For example, you take Z6, congruent modulo 6 classes. As I said, 0, 2 into 3 is 0. Therefore, 2 and 3 are 0 divisors. 3 into 4 is 0 because 12 modulo 6. Therefore, they are also 0 divisors. So these are the 0 divisors in the case of congruent modulo 6 classes. Whereas 1, 1 into 1, 5, 5 into 5, 25, modulo 6, 1, they are self-inverse elements. They are multiplicative inverses of congruent modulo 6 classes. Okay, let me have a very different example of a quotient ring of a ring of polynomials. I consider all polynomials in X with coefficients in Z2 congruent modulo 2 classes. Thereby, it is the polynomial in X, coefficients are either 0 or 1. And you take the ideal generated by X cube. You please note that ideal generated by X cube means X cube and its multiples, and X cube plus X cube 2X cube, and so on and so forth. Because X cube is ideal generated by X cube, X into X cube, X is an element of this ring, X power 4 is an element of this ideal, and so on. Therefore, not only the third power of X, all powers greater than or equal to 3 are elements of this one. So you take a polynomial a0 plus a1x plus a2x square, a power n x power n. Because X cube is an element of this ideal, it is amalgamated there. Not only X cube, the same in the case of X power 4, and so on and so forth. Therefore, any polynomial in the quotient ring of Z2 of X over X cube is of the form a0 plus a1x plus a2x square plus ideal generated by X cube. Of course, the coefficients are from Z2. Naturally, how many elements are there? There are 2 choices for any of these. Therefore, there are 8 elements in this finite ring. It is a finite quotient ring containing 8 elements. Thereby, the 0 divisors of this ring are nothing but 0 bar, which is equal to ideal generated by X cube, which is a coset of this. Another one is X bar, which is equal to X plus X square, sorry, X cube. Another one, X square bar, which is equal to X square plus X cube. Another one, X plus X square, this one. Now people may ask how it is a 0 divisor. To claim an element as a 0 divisor, it is natural to find out an annihilator for this element. An annihilator means some element, when it is being make a product with this coset, must be 0. You multiply these two, X bar and X bar square. Its representative is X. Its representative is X cube. Naturally, X into X square X cube. It's an element of this ideal. Ultimately, that is 0. If you multiply these two, here the coset representative is X plus X square. This is X square. Once again, that is 0. So these are the very few rings and its 0 divisors. Now let me come to the very classical finite ring of congruent modulo n classes. Of course, so my question is, what are the 0 divisors in Zn addition modulo n and multiplication modulo n? It is a fact that the 0 divisors of this congruent modulo n classes is nothing but set of all a bar in Zn such that GCD of a comma n is greater than 1. That means you have to take representatives for which this condition is true. And simultaneously, the unit elements of this ring are nothing but the cosets with representatives having GCD 1. That is the elements which are relatively prime to n. How? What is the reason? Can you prove this one? Okay. Suppose I take an element A in Zn, which enjoys the property of GCD of a comma n is 1. You know, the elementary property of a GCD is it is a linear combination of those two elements. Therefore, I have got integers lambda and mu such that lambda a plus mu n is equal to 1. You take modulo n. This is modulo n means it is 0. Therefore, lambda bar into a bar equal to 1 bar. Lambda bar into a bar into equal to 1 bar means there exists a inverse which is lambda bar multiplicative inverse for a bar. Therefore, a bar is a unit. What I have observed, if you take an element a bar in congruent modulo n classes and enjoys the property of GCD of a comma n is equal to 1, then it is a unit. So naturally, when the other condition is true, it is a zero divisor. So in the case of congruent modulo n classes, a finite classical finite ring, all zero divisors and units are known. Okay. So my question is, because of, initially I have informed that in the case of a ring, there are 3 categories of elements: zero divisors, regular, unit. But in the case of a finite ring, any ring is nothing but, or any element of a ring is nothing but either a zero divisor or unit. There are no elements which are regular. At the same time, they are not having multiplicative inverses. So in the case of finite, an element is either zero divisor or unit. People may recall the very proof of a very classical statement of any finite integral domain is a field. So suppose R is finite. Let me list out the elements as A1, A2, etc. An. Let me take an element A in R, and A is not a zero divisor. So not a zero divisor means what will happen? Let me find AR, which is nothing but A into R. R is an element of R. So I will get A into A1, etc. A into AN. Because these element A into A1, etc. A into AN, they must be distinct. Suppose for AI and AJ, AI is equal to AAJ, distributive law, and ultimately bringing everything to the left hand side. A into AI minus AJ equal to 0. AI and AJ are distinct. Therefore, A becomes zero divisor. But whereas I have taken A as a non-zero zero divisor, ultimately this contains n distinct elements. R contains n elements. Its subset contains n distinct elements. Therefore, subset must be equal to R. And thereby, one is already there. One must be in some element of this format. A into some B must be 1. Therefore, A is a unit. Therefore, in the case of a finite ring, if an element is not a zero divisor, ultimately it must be a unit. Okay, naturally one wanted to observe the distinction in the case of a infinite ring. Okay. So as observed in the above, in the case of congruent modulo n classes, all elements are either zero divisors or units. That we have characterized. We have seen the characterization also. Suppose R is finite. All the ring elements are divided into 3: zero divisor, unit, and regular. For example, you take ring of integers. It's an integral domain. Thereby, it contains only one zero divisor, namely 0. The units in the case of integers are 1 and minus 1. Of course, each one is self-inverse. And regular elements means elements other than these 3. So, for example, 2 is an integer which is regular because 2 is neither a zero divisor. You cannot get 0 by multiplying some element with 2. And it is not having multiplicative inverse because the multiplicative inverse of 2 is 1 by 2, which is rational, which is not here. Therefore, these elements are called regular. These are elements, regular elements in the case of integers. Of course, as I said, nilpotent means it is a set of all elements A in R. such that a power n is equal to 0 for some positive integer and it is a least integer. Naturally, nilpotence is a subset of integers, sorry, zero divisors, and nilpotence is an ideal. What does it mean here? If you take two nilpotent elements, their sum is a nilpotent element. For example, A is nilpotent with the index n, a power n is equal to 0. B is nilpotent with the nilpotent index m, b power m is equal to 0. You know how to prove a plus b is nilpotent? I must find some k such that a plus b to the power k must be 0. People may be reminded of the very classical binomial theorem for a positive index, which is valid in the case of ring elements also. Therefore, you take k is equal to m plus n, you will get sum of two nilpotent elements is again nilpotent. So nilpotent elements form an ideal that is called nil radical. But in contrast to that, that is sum of two nilpotent elements is again nilpotent. But in the case of zero divisors, sum of two zero divisors need not be a zero divisor. So set of all zero divisors of a commutative ring is not closed with respect to addition. I think this may be removed. Okay, fine. Someone, why this is coming? Is it due to me or somebody? Please, okay, let it. Let me consider R is equal to Z12 congruent to modulo 12 classes. I think this unnecessary lines may be removed if it is possible. You take congruent to modulo 12 classes. What are the zero divisors? 0,
So,
2.
sir,
Yeah, please.
you can erase the lines yourself.
By?
You can select the annotation options.
Yeah.
Upper bar and take the eraser and pick on the line.
Thank you, thank you. Eraser. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Just click on that. Yeah, you will get it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you take congruent to modulo 12 classes. The zero divisors are nothing but 0, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. For example, if someone wanted to find that this 10 as a zero divisor, 10 into 660, which is a 12 multiple, thereby that is 0. And naturally, as observed, the remaining elements must be units. The remaining elements are nothing but what? Okay. Remaining elements are 1, 5, 7, 11. And of course, one may notice the fact that they are relatively prime to 12. GCD of 1 and 12, 5, 12, 7, 12, and 11, 12. And what are the nilpotent elements in this ring? 0 and 6 are the only nilpotent elements. 6 to the power 6 into 6, 36, which is a multiple of 12. Therefore, it is nilpotent. And one can verify the fact that no other element in the zero divisors is nilpotent. Okay. You see 6 plus 6 is 12, which is closed. Here 2 plus 3, you take zero divisor set of this ring. 2 is a zero divisor, 3 is a zero divisor. 2 plus 3, which is a unit, thereby it is not the element of a zero divisor. Ultimately, Z of C12 is not closed with respect to addition, and hence it is not an ideal of Z12. Okay. Suppose you take a commutative ring R and you take an element A in R. Annihilator of A means set of all B in R such that AB equal to 0. Of course, annihilator of 0 is the full ring. Annihilator of A is naturally an ideal of R. It is called the annihilator ideal. And if you take A is a 0 or A is a unit, then annihilator is nothing but full. Then annihilator must be a subset of Z of R. And if A is in Z of R, annihilator of A is a subset of this. Already it is an ideal. Or on the other hand, if you take a zero divisor, it must be annihilator of some element. Therefore, it is there. Ultimately, zero divisors is nothing but union of non-zero elements and the corresponding annihilators in R. What my contention is, the set of all zero divisors on its own is not an ideal, but it is a union of some annihilator ideals. Sorry, all annihilator ideals. Not only that, it is a union of some prime ideals in R. So one hand it is a union of annihilator ideals, another hand it is a union of some prime ideals. For example, let me take Z12. Note the fact that P1 is equal to ideal generated by 2. The elements are being listed out. It is a prime ideal. And similarly, P2 is equal to the ideal generated by 3, which is also a prime ideal. Therefore, these are two prime ideals in Z2, Z12. You take union of these two. Please look into the fact of the zero divisors of this Z12. They are either 2 multiple or 3 multiple. Ultimately, in this case, zero divisors is nothing but union of one prime ideal 2 and another prime ideal 3. And still it is not closed. So suppose if it is closed, what will happen? Note that if you take a zero divisor, you multiply with any element of R. Suppose A in Z of R in R, or A, it is a left multiple. Similarly, you can do it on the right because we take a commutative ring. We are not bothered about the both. They are one and the same. So if A is in Z of R in R into A is an element of Z of R. It is closed with respect to left multiplication. Of course, one can see that it satisfies all the conditions required for an ideal except it is closed under addition in general. Suppose Z of R is closed under addition, naturally this becomes an ideal. Please recall the fact that Z of R is union of certain prime ideals. You know, union of two ideals is an ideal if and only if Z of R is an ideal. Universal fact is Z of R is a prime union of prime ideals. You know, union of two ideals is an ideal if and only if one is contained in the other. Even if it is union of certain k prime ideals, by means of inclusion of one in the other, it will end up in one. Therefore, Z of R is nothing but one prime ideal whenever Z of R is an ideal. Naturally, when Z of R is an ideal, and so it is prime, its quotient ring is an integral domain. Now suppose R is finite, what will happen? R is finite and Z of R is an ideal, then already it is an integral domain. R is finite, quotient ring is finite, therefore the quotient ring is a field. That is, for a finite commutative ring, if Z of R is an ideal, then R by Z of R is a field. Okay. Now come back. If R by M is a field, M is a maximal ideal, therefore Z of R is a maximal ideal. Please note that already we have observed that every ideal is contained in Z of R. Therefore, it is a unique maximal ideal, and ultimately unique maximal ideal means any ring with unique maximal ideal is it is supposed to be known as local ring. So what happens if R is finite and Z of R is an ideal, then it is a unique maximal ideal and the corresponding ring is a local ring. So local ring means R with unique maximal ideal. It is always denoted by R comma M. For example, you take R is equal to Z27. Please note that it is 27 is a prime power, and its zero divisors are nothing but this one, 3 comma something, and it is an ideal, and the unit elements are listed here. This is a local ring. This is a unique maximal ideal, and Z of Z27 is an ideal. Ultimately, this fine. Now, just I have given a warm up of certain known facts. They are not very hard to grab. Now, let me come to the topic of my talk. As I mentioned in the beginning, the concept of zero divisor graphs was introduced by Ivan Beck, an Italian mathematician, in the year 1988, and it is published in Journal of Algebra. Of course, if you take a commutative ring R, we are going to construct a graph called zero divisor graph. To specify a graph, one need to specify what is a vertex set and what is the edge set. In the case of zero divisor graph of R, which is denoted by gamma of R, the vertex set is a non-zero zero divisors of R. Of course, the edge set is nothing but the set of all pairs AB. It is an edge provided. Their product is 0. It is A into B. It is not AB, because in the case of graphs we use write edges by writing two vertices juxtaposition, but it is not so. It is a product of. So always in this part of graph theory, especially construction of graphs from algebraic structures, either a subset or the full algebraic structure will be taken as vertices, and edges are created through one algebraic condition. Here product is 0. And of course, it is a fact to be remembered that this is not the original definition of Beck. Actually, if you take the Beck's 1988 paper, there the vertex set is full R and the adjacency is same. For a while, you please think that if I take all elements of R as the vertex set, 0 will be there. 0 into every element will be 0. Therefore, 0 is adjacent to all the remaining elements of the vertex set. So ultimately, in this case, the zero divisor graph contains a very strong substructure or subgraph, namely K1 comma cardinality of R1 minus 1. And ultimately, that restricts scope of studying about zero divisor graph. So by understanding this specific definition was introduced by Anderson and Livingston in the year 1992, and this is the modified definition. But even though this is a modified definition, this has been referred only due to Beck, and this paper is being referred in almost every papers, maybe in around 1200 papers. Okay. Note that this zero divisor graph is empty if and only if R is an integral domain. Naturally, if R is an integral domain, 0 is the only zero divisor. We consider only non-zero zero divisors. Therefore, there exists no graph, and the converse is also true. Of course, here to be remembered is suppose I take a vertex A in R. What is the degree of that vertex? Of course, A is a non-zero zero divisor. What is the degree of that vertex in gamma of R? It is nothing but cardinality of or number of elements in the annihilator ideal minus 0 comma A, because 0 is not considered. It is an element of the annihilator ideal, but here 0 is not considered as a vertex. And when we count the degree, that vertex is not counted. Therefore, cardinality of annihilator of A minus 0 comma A is the degree of the vertex set in gamma of R. Okay. I will give a very few examples of zero divisor graphs. Consider the three rings. One is Z6, congruent modulo 6 classes, Z8, congruent modulo 8 classes, and Z2 of x over x cube. This already we have seen. What are the zero divisors of these three rings? In the case of Z6, I consider only non-zero, 2, 3, 4. In the case of Z8, 2, 4, 6. In the case of Z2 of x over x cube, it is nothing but x bar, x square bar, x plus x square bar. Please note that all the three rings contain three non-zero zero divisors. But one must look into the fact that this Z6 is not isomorphic to Z8. A very natural trivial observation. This contains 8 elements, that contains 6 elements. How can they be isomorphic? They are not isomorphic. But what is a zero divisor graph corresponding to these three rings? You take in the case of Z6, you take this as 2, this is 3, this is 4. I mean vertices. 2, 3, 4. 2 into 3, 6, 0, they are joined. 3 into 4, 12, modulo 6, 0, they are joined. In the case of Z8, this is 2, this is 4, this is 6. 2 into 4, 8, 0. 4 into 6, 24, 0. Okay. In the case of this Z2 of x over x cube, this is x bar, this is x square bar, this is x plus x square bar. Already we have noticed that x into x square, x cube, 0. X square into this, the first factor is x cube, second factor is x power 4. All the elements are in the ideal, therefore this is 0. So for three non-isomorphic rings, and of course this is not isomorphic to Z6 because additive groups are not isomorphic. So three non-isomorphic rings as algebraic structures, they yield the same zero divisor graph, namely P3, the path with three vertices of length 2. Okay. Now I would like to give some more examples, or in the sense that one can list out all possible graphs of order less than or equal to 4, which are zero divisor graphs. For example, these are zero divisor graphs, that is this K1, or a graph with only one vertex is a zero divisor graph. Of course, the corresponding ring is Z4. This K2, path of length 1, path with 2 vertices, it is a zero divisor graph, at least corresponding to Z9, Z2 times Z2, Z3 of x over x square. You please note that this is Z9, Z2 times Z2, and Z3 of x over x square. This already we have seen, Z6, Z8, and Z2 of x over x cube. This K3, this is a zero divisor graph of Z6, Z8, Z2 of x over x cube, Z4 of x over 2x comma x square minus 2. And these are also K13, cycle of length 4, complete graph of 4 vertices. What I mean is, for each of these graphs, there exists at least one commutative ring R such that the corresponding zero divisor graph is this graph. For example, if I take this, there are 3. So similarly, for each of these graphs, one can find commutative rings. For example, this table gives zero divisor graphs of corresponding to this. This is for K1. This is for K2 or path of length 1. This is for path of length 2. This is for K3. This is for K13. This is for C4. This is for K4. So one can verify in the case of Z25, 5, 10, 15, 20 are the zero divisors. When you multiply any of the 5 multiples, you will get 25 multiple. Therefore, it is a complete graph on 4 vertices. Now, what we have seen, if you give me a commutative ring, I will give you a zero divisor graph. And of course, these graphs are realizable as zero divisor graphs. What is the converse problem? Can anyone think of converse problem? Given a commutative ring, I construct a zero divisor graph. Conversely, the question comes into the picture is, given a graph G, does there exist a commutative ring R such that gamma of R is isomorphic to G? Please look into that. Given a graph G, does there exist a commutative ring R such that gamma of R is isomorphic to G? Suppose if the answer to this question is positive, affirmative, then what will happen? Every graph is realized as zero divisor graph, and there is no graph theory at all. It will be a part of commutative rings. There won't be 5C in mathematical reviews. It will be amalgamated into 14 commutative rings. But very fortunately or unfortunately, there are graphs for which cannot be realized as zero divisor graphs. For example, you take P4, the path with 4 vertices and of length 3. So my claim is P4, path with 4 vertices, cannot be realized as zero divisor graph. What I should do? I take all possible commutative rings. Please construct the zero divisor graphs and see that it is not isomorphic to P4. Is it a workable exercise? No, it's not possible. However, let me do it. Suppose there exists a R for which P4 is a zero divisor graph. Let me take P4 as A, B, C, D. So I take path of length 3. The vertices are being taken as A, B, C, D. Now, what is the information you are getting out of this with respect to R? The very first information is for this R, because I take P4 as a zero divisor graph of this R, first information is zero divisor set of R is nothing but 0, which is not taken here naturally, all the other 4 elements. That means for this commutative ring R, the zero divisor set is nothing but 0, A, B, C, D. Participants, please look at a while. Is it the only information available because of this assumption, or anything is there? This more specifically, this is the information out of the vertex set of the graph. What about the information from edges? So AB is an edge. Thereby, what is the algebraic assumption? AB must be 0. That is why you have joined AB. Because BC is an edge, BC must be 0. Because CD is an edge, CD must be 0. So first information, the vertex set gives this. Second information, because AB is an edge, AB equal to 0, BC is an edge, this is 0, CD is an edge, this is 0. Still I have a question. Are these only informations or something else is there? Yes, something else is there. And please note that no other product of pair of elements in R is 0. Please note that suppose there exists some R1, R2 in R, for which R1, R2 equal to 0, then they would have find the place in the zero divisor graph, because that is being represented there. Since this is the graph of zero divisor graph of R, these are the 3 informations. So if someone assumes P4 is the zero divisor graph of R, for this commutative ring R, Z of R is this, these are 0, and no other product is 0. Okay. Now, please note that AB equal to 0 and BC equal to 0. Let me add these two. What I will get it? AB plus BC equal to 0, commutative, A plus CB equal to 0, A plus B into C equal to 0. Therefore, A plus C must be a zero divisor. So when A plus B is a zero divisor, what I will get it? So it is an element of Z of R. Ultimately, either it will be 0, or it is A, or it is C, or it is D. Okay. If A plus C is equal to 0, then AB equal to 0 and AD equal to 0, it is a contradiction. Please note that if A plus C is equal to 0, what I will get it? A equal to minus C. Already CD equal to 0. So instead of C, I put minus A, AD equal to 0. That means which is a contradiction to this last fact. Here AD is not 0. No other product is 0. So if A plus C is equal to 0, then AD will be 0, which is a contradiction. A plus C is equal to A means C must be 0, C is non-zero. A plus C is equal to C means A is 0, again a contradiction. If A plus C is equal to D, then the same as observed here, these are all contradictions. Okay, there are 5 elements in the zero divisor set, 4 raises to the contradiction. Therefore, what about the remaining? The remaining only possibility is A plus C is equal to B. Please look at the graph. If you take A and C, the only possibility is A plus C is equal to B. That is, if you take these 2 elements, they are sum in the middle element. Similar argument I put forth for B and D. What I will get it? B plus D must be equal to C. So one hand A plus C is equal to B, another hand B plus D is equal to C. So you substitute C here, B plus D, B gets cancelled. Ultimately A plus D is equal to 0, which is D is equal to minus A. This once again AD becomes 0, which is a contradiction. So what is the fact? A plus C is a zero divisor, gives contradiction in every possibility. Therefore, P4 cannot be a zero divisor graph of any of the commutative ring. That means graph theory has got its own path, because there are graphs which cannot be realized as zero divisor graphs. So they need to be studied upon. So there is a independent path of zero divisor graphs is intersection of this commutative rings and graph theory. Ultimately, there are other things also. Okay, not only P4, one can see the similar argument. Path of length n greater than or equal to 4, path with n vertices, n greater than or equal to 4, cannot be realized as zero divisor graph. Not only that, Cn, the cycle of length n greater than or equal to 5, cannot be realized as zero divisor graph. So there are some graphs which cannot come into this category. Okay, what else comes into this category? Suppose R1 and R2 are integral domains. In fact, in mathematics, if anyone wanted to enlarge the object, anything whatsoever it be, so we will naturally take direct product. If you take 2 finite groups, direct product is a larger group. If you take 2 finite rings, direct product is a larger ring. So I consider R1 and R2 integral domains. So they don't have non-zero zero divisors. I consider direct product of R1 and R2. Now my question is, what is the zero divisor graph of this R1 times R2? Of course, to find the zero divisors, it's natural to find what is the zero divisor graph. What is the zero divisor set of this R1 times R2? And please note that zero divisors of R1 times R2 is nothing but 0 first component, second component you take any element from R2. Similarly, first component you take any element in R1, second component 0. So if you take here one element 0, A2, here element is A1, 0, take the component wise product 0, A1, 0, A2, 0, 0. Therefore, every element of this form is a zero divisor. So that's what A1, 0, non-zero, A2, 0, non-zero. The product is 0. Therefore, every element here is a zero divisor. Ultimately, what will happen? People might be, they might have guessed the things that one part 0, R2, other part 0, R1. It is a bipartite graph, complete bipartite graph. That means the cardinalities The zero divisor get of R1 times R2 is nothing but K of R1 comma cardinality of R1 minus 1 comma cardinality of R2 minus 1. That means complete bipartite graphs can be realized as zero divisor graphs. Still the question is anything, any number. Suppose I ask K4 comma K11, can you do it? No, it may not be possible. There are certain number theoretical restrictions are there. Yes, especially when you take two finite fields, you know Wedderburn's theorem. Any finite field is prime power, contains prime power elements for a prime number p power alpha. Another finite field means it is q power beta. P and q are prime numbers. Ultimately, from the above observation, because any two fields means they are basically integral domains, the complete bipartite graph of this p power alpha minus 1, q power beta minus 1. That means say numbers of this form. That is, if you take m must be prime power minus 1, n must be prime power minus 1. For these numbers, complete bipartite graphs can be realized as zero divisor graphs through the existence of corresponding finite fields. Of course, the very simple class is when p is a prime number and r is equal to zp square, the congruent modulo prime square. What is a zero divisor graph? Of course, you can find the, please note that in the case of finite ring, any element is a zero divisor if and only if it is not relatively prime to p square. So Euler phi function can calculate the units in Zfn. You see, number of units in Zp square is equal to P of p square, p into p minus 1. Of course, for any n, which is n into product of prime divisors of n, 1 minus 1 by n, 1 minus 1 by p, ultimately p into p minus 1. Therefore, number of zero divisors in Zp square is nothing but p minus 1. Of course, each one is a multiple of p. If you take two elements, the product will be the multiple of p square, which is 0. Therefore, the zero divisor graph corresponding to Zp square for a prime number is Kp minus 1. Of course, similarly, one can observe that zero divisor graph of Zp cube equal to Kp square minus 1. Okay, I have defined zero divisor graph. I have given very few examples. And of course, in general, what are the some general classes of graphs can be realized as zero divisor graphs. Okay. Literally speaking, when the study of zero divisor started in the literature, Ganesan, my own teacher and guru, in 1964, he has published a paper in Mathematical Annalen, which was a journal published in German and English. Mathematical Annalen. What he has proved is this. Suppose R is a commutative ring with finitely many zero divisors. That means the number of elements in Z of R is finite, which is equal to m, which is greater than or equal to 2, which contains at least 2 elements. So thereby, this theorem is not applicable for integral domains. So R is non-integral domain containing finitely many zero divisors. It has been proved that then R is necessarily finite and contains not more than m square elements. In a simplified way, any commutative ring containing finitely many zero divisors, of course finite greater than or equal to 2, it is necessarily finite. The ring contains not more than m square elements. So this is the result which has been proved in 1964. Subsequently, so of course, in the case of R is an integral domain, then Z of R is 1, it is an integral domain which is not considered here. If R is a commutative ring, okay, fine. And in 1992, after introduction of this zero divisor graphs, Anderson and Livingston, they proved a result which appeared in this paper of zero divisor graphs. What they proved is this. R is a commutative ring, then zero divisor graph is finite if and only if R is either finite or integral domain. Please note that 1964, the result of Ganesan denotes that any non-integral domain containing finitely many zero divisors is necessarily finite. In 1994, the same result is re-quoted in the quoting of graph theory, saying that zero divisor graph is finite if and only if the corresponding commutative ring is either finite or integral domain. So that is the research. After 28 years, a result is quoted in some other way. Of course, in every paper, now both the papers are quoted. That means the graph is finite if and only if the zero divisor graph is finite. Of course, it is my bounden duty to inform the participants that in this part of graph theory, we never consider only finite graphs. Here, when we mean zero divisor graph, it includes infinite classes also. So we never assume finite. But because of this theorem, if the graph happen to be finite, then the ring is also finite. So infinite graph, infinite commutative ring, finite graph, finite commutative ring. That is the case. Okay, let me recall what is a few lines about the proof of this theorem. So now it is referred in both the names, Anderson and Ganesan, this one. Okay. If you want to prove the result, one part is trivial, one may observe. Suppose R is finite, then zero divisor set is finite. Naturally, it is a subset of R. Then the graph is finite. There is nothing. It is trivial observation. What about the converse? To prove the converse, for a commutative ring R, assume that the zero divisor set is finite. I must prove that R is finite or integral domain. Let me take it non-integral domain and try to prove that it is finite. So if part is very trivial. Conversely, let me assume that the zero divisor graph is finite and non-empty. That means there exists pair of elements for which x into y must be 0. The product is 0. And let me take one such element and let me consider the annihilator of that non-zero element x in R. As observed earlier, this I is a subset of Z of R. Of course, I is an ideal. Z of R is a finite subset of R. Okay. Now you take an element A in X, and what about it? Because it is an annihilator element, AX must be 0. So what will happen? You please note the fact. A is an element of annihilator, AX equal to 0 for any A in Z of R. And please note that if you take an element of annihilator and you take elements of R, if Y is here, Ry is an element of I because it is an ideal. One hand I is finite as a subset of Z of R. Another hand, R supplies infinitely many elements of left multiplication. You imagine a finite set containing infinitely many products. Then what can be the case? When your finite set contains infinitely many elements, infinitely many products, that means some element is being repeated infinitely. That means because R is infinite, there exists an element I in I such that this set Ry is equal to I. That means the repeated elements must be a infinite set. And one can prove that this is an ideal because R minus S into Y must be 0. Once it is an ideal, it is a subset of Z of R. Therefore, one hand you see Z of R is finite. Another hand, if I take R is infinite, it gives me an infinite subset of Z of R, which is a contradiction. Therefore, R is finite if and only if the corresponding zero divisor graph is finite. Of course, as I mentioned in the morning by Professor Vijay Kumar, the diameter of the graph plays a vital role in the structure of the graph. Of course, it was mentioned that the diameter of the Facebook is at most 3.57. And for any World Wide Web, the diameter was at the maximum 19. And in the case of zero divisor graphs, what is the diameter of zero divisor graph? For any commutative ring R, the very first result is gamma of R is connected. It is a connected graph, and not only connected, the diameter of zero divisor graph is at most 3. So it's a very dense graph. Okay, let me recall quickly the proof of this fact. That means I would like to prove that zero divisor graph is connected and diameter is 3. I think I can skip the proof. However, just a very few steps I will mention so that people can follow. Suppose I take X and Y, two vertices. How do I prove connected? I must exhibit a path between them. If xy is equal to 0, naturally that is the only edge between the distance is 1. If x square equal to 0, y square is equal to 0, this is the path between x and y. Product of these two 0, these two 0. If x square equal to 0, y square not equal to 0, then the path is this way. You see, in each and every case, I take two elements, distinct elements x and y, depend upon the algebraic products of xy, x square, y square, ax, a is an annihilator of b, by, b is an annihilator of a. Depend upon the multiplication of these elements, I get in each and every case at the maximum a path of length 2. That means, so you see, this is a maximum path of length 2. AB equal to 0 and x square not equal to 0, y square not is equal to 0. A is an element of this annihilator, B is an annihilator of y. This is a path of length this. Therefore, distance is at the maximum 3. So it is a very beautiful representation of these products in R. Of course, I am reminded of one fact that if you take a finite ring, you take any element, it is a sum of at most 3 units in that R. This is a result algebraically proved in 1970s, Journal of Algebra. The proof runs over 6.5 pages in Journal of Algebra. Please recall the fact, if you take a finite ring, any element is the sum of at most 3 units. There is a graph called the unit graph, which is also studied using graph theoretical proof, the same result half a page. You see how development of one concept, the interdisciplinary approach helps to reduce the proof of a fact. Of course, one must be reminded of the fact that Paul Erdős is known for multiple proofs of many of the known results. He will always try to have another proof, another proof, another proof. So this part of the study of graph theory from commutative ring gives some such benefits naturally on the algebraic part of the proof of standard results. Okay, diameter is less than or equal to 3. And of course, it is a surprising fact that that is a known fact that I know at least some 40 to 45 graphs constructed from commutative rings alone. Some of them to name zero divisor, total, annihilating, annihilating ideal, unit, co-maximal, Jacobson, extended zero graph, and ideal based generalization, and so on and so forth. It is a surprising and proven fact that in almost all graphs, the diameter is at most 3. Of course, it was a surprise to me. When diameter is less than or equal to 3, this class must be very small. That was my feeling. But when I referred to some expert in combinatorics, or they say that there is a probabilistic argument proving that almost every graph is of the class at diameter at most 3. That is, probability of a graph G given that diameter is less than or equal to G is almost 1. So that means, say, this class of dense graphs, they find the major part of, or almost every part of the entire class, the zero divisor graph is one among them. That means there are more edges as in the standard graphs. Suppose you take a path of length n, it contains only n minus 1 edges. But whereas this zero divisor graph, once you pass on third stage, you have to come back. Especially people believe that in the case of vertex transitive class, this backtracking is possible because of this fact. Of course, Anderson in 1992, the same paper, he has proved that if R is a commutative ring, then gamma of R contains a cycle and the grid is less than or equal to 4. Please note that commutative Artinian. Artinian means this descending chain condition is true. If you go on reducing the ideals generated by, then that will reach this. And of course, there was a conjecture initially, grid is less than or equal to 7 because the diameter is less than or equal to 3. Naturally, grid is twice diameter plus 1, less than or equal to 7. There was a conjecture for some time, and ultimately it has been proved that for all graphs, grid is less than or equal to 5. The conjecture was settled affirmative. So let me skip the proof. The proof is in the file. If anyone, definitely they can go through and find out the fact. Of course, in the same paper, it has been observed that when this gamma of R contains a vertex adjacent to all other vertices, that means K1 n minus 1 is a subgraph of this, and which is possible only in the case of R is isomorphic to Z2 times A, where A is an integral domain, or Z of R is an annihilator ideal. Annihilator ideal means all the elements are annihilated of single element, which is equal to A n of some x in R. So just to please see that in the statement only contains some graph theoretical fact. The proofs are ultimately depend upon the algebraic tools. The conclusion is graph theoretic. So input is algebraic, tools are algebraic, realized fact is it is a driven fact in as graph theory. Okay. Now, when this graph is complete, zero divisor graph is complete, if and only if it is either Z2 times Z2 or xy is equal to 0 for all x and y in 0 of Z of R. Okay, this is also another case. If gamma of R is complete, then R is either Z2 times Z2 or it is a local ring with the characteristic of R is equal to P or P square, and gamma of R is P power n minus 1, where P is a prime number and n is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, these are certain observations or basic observations in this one. So this was introduced in 1992. There was a big conjecture which has been disproved by D.D. Anderson in 1994. Of course, in the initial big paper, Beck was interested in chromatic number of the zero divisor graph. Of course, he has conjectured that it is nothing but number of minimal prime ideals in R, which was disproved by D.D. Anderson. He is a senior man in the same department, University of Tennessee. And of course, there are many more papers on this. He has given an example for which zero divisor graph chromatic number is 1 greater than number of minimal ideals in this R. Okay, we come across this fact in 2000 sometime. Then we started a new study on the zero divisor graphs. Basically, what are the extensive graph theoretical properties of this zero divisor graph? So having this, in fact, in 2006, Redmond, Communications and Algebra, he has proved that of course, you see, you take R is equal to Z2 cross F, F is a finite field, Z2 is a field of 2 elements, this is a finite field. Then the zero divisor graph of Z2 of cross F is a star graph, and ultimately it is a domination number is 1. This is a unique gamma set. Gamma is the value of domination number. So, and the number of gamma sets is 1. If you take R is equal to Z2 cross F, its domination number is 1. Number of gamma sets is 1. But if you take R is equal to Z4 cross Z2, This is finite field, but it is not the field. In this case, there are two dominating sets. So one dominating set is this and this. Another dominating set is this and this. 2, 0, 0, 1, 2, 0, 0, 1, and 0, 1, 2, 1. These are the two dominating sets of this one. So we wanted to have, in general, what is the domination number of this one. Of course, Redmond itself, he has got an algebraic characterization. If R is a commutative ring with identity, that is not an integral domain. If the radius of R is at most 1, then the domination number is 1. If the radius is 2, then the domination number is equal to number of factors in the Artinian decomposition of R. Please note that this looks like giving the domination number, but the problem is hypothetical. It needs some algebraic characterization, finding something algebraically, and then only you can get a graph theoretical fact. But we started this. Myself and Selva Kumar, in the year 2004, we started a domination number of zero divisor graph of Zn, congruent modulo n classes. So that is a classical finite ring. At least let us examine what is the domination number and what are the gamma sets in this one. Of course, it has been proved that there are yes, you please see. If R is a commutative ring, which is a direct product of integral domains, then domination number of this gamma of R is n, which is equal to gamma of Zn if n is greater than or equal to 3. Domination number of gamma of R is equal to 2 if this is the case. Domination number of gamma of R is 1 if this is the case. That means if you know the decomposition of a commutative ring in terms of integral domain, then its domination number is no. Of course, in similar to that, in the case of Zn, suppose you take n is equal to, according to fundamental theorem of number theory, it is a product of powers of distinct primes. So p1 to the power k1, etc., etc. p1 less than p2 less than pr. p1 is the smallest prime. Then it has been proved that domination number of gamma of Zn is R, the number of distinct prime factors of n. And of course, having obtained the domination number, we wanted to find all possible gamma sets, because the class of intersection graphs is a very effective study in the case of graph theory. We wanted to find all gamma sets and intersection graph. Of course, why such a curious attempt was, it has been observed that if n is equal to p1 to the power something, then S is a gamma set of gamma of Zn if and only if it contains R elements. That is not anything surprise, because naturally we have proved that the number of prime factors is the domination number. But what are the elements S should contain? That also we could prove it. S contains exactly one element from each of the annihilators n by pi. P1 is a prime divisors, n by p1 is an integer, its annihilator you take it. Then n by p2, n by pr, each one is an annihilator. You pick up one element from each of these annihilator, you will get a domination, or you will get a gamma set. Ultimately, we could find out that number of gamma sets in gamma of Zn is nothing but product of I is equal to 1 to R, pi minus 1. These are all distinct prime factors. And it is ultimately proved that all gamma sets are no. Of course, please note that if S is a gamma set, which is a dominating set of cardinality gamma, then the induced subgraph is complete. So it is nothing but one cluster of complete graph and another cluster of complete. So it is when I take domination number, naturally I will have only one, thereby the neighborhood is the entire cluster. That's what it happens. Of course, due to this fact, recently the concept of comprised zero divisor graphs are introduced. Replacing each complete graph by one vertex, the graph is studied. Ultimately, the zero divisor graph can be studied. That's a recent appearance. Only 3 or 4 papers appeared in comprised zero divisor graph of commutative rings. And having known the domination number, we have observed that it is a class of graphs for which the zero divisor graph of ZN, total domination, connected domination, split domination, and this is some private domination or something, they are all equal to R, number of distinct prime factors. Of course, people are interested in the domination chain. For what classes of graphs? All the domination parameters in the fundamental domination chain are equal. That is always the concern of the people in domination theory. Here is a class of graphs for which that chain becomes equal in many places. Of course, we immediately started another fact that if suppose R is a non-commutative ring, then what about the zero divisor graph? That means, say, when you take a non-commutative ring, it is a fact that AB may be 0 and BA may not be 0. BA may be 0 and AB may not be 0. That means if AB equal to 0, I will draw an edge from A to B. And the same time, there won't be any edge from B to A. So sense of orientation has come into the picture. Ultimately, zero divisor graphs are studied for non-commutative rings with directed edges. In fact, myself and Selva Kumar, my own colleague in my department, we have observed that in 2015, it is published in Journal of Combinatorial Mathematics and Combinatorial Computing. We have proved that, or we have specifically studied about the directed zero divisor graph of matrices. Especially, we are concerned about 2 by 2 matrices over finite fields, ZP, and we have observed certain beautiful properties for this class of matrix rings. Of course, zero divisor graphs are studied for posets, partially ordered sets, lattices, partially ordered sets with supremum and infimum for every pair of elements, GCD and LUB and GLB, and of course we have studied zero divisor graphs of near rings also. Near rings are generalized ring structures in which abelian nature of addition is not considered, and one of the distributive law is dropped. Of course, they are very realistic algebraic structures which are having direct link with the projective geometry, and they are realized through near rings. Of course, in 1905, Dixon noticed some fields with only one distributive law. They are called near fields. They are having good link with projective geometry. Of course, myself and Nitya, my own student, proved that, or we have studied about zero divisor graphs of lattices, which appeared in Transactions of Combinatorics. And we also studied about zero divisor graphs of near rings in 2016, which appeared in Taiwanese Journal of Mathematics. And yes, I think I am only 4 more minutes are there. So these are few of the references, and some of them our own publications. And of course, there are graphs called annihilating ideal graphs. There are study about intersection graph of gamma sets in zero divisor graph. Of course, one of the beautiful other property being studied by us is this genus topological indices for zero divisor graphs, and several graphs from commutative. Genus means it is a number of hooks in n-dimensional sphere, so that an embedding you can have in the surface. A non-planar graph can be embedded in a genus with one hook. So such characterizations are there. We have extensively studied about the genus properties of some zero divisor graphs, annihilating graphs, total graphs, and so on and so forth. So things are being continued, and just I can stop at this stage. It is for the session is with the coordinator and for interactions.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you, sir. So now is the
May I
interactive
close
session.
the presentation?
Hello, sir.
May I close, stop sharing? Okay. Please.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir. It's okay. Now the session start for queries.
Yes, most welcome.
Sir. Okay, sir. Can you see the chat box?
Yeah, I have
Okay.
chat box with me. Yeah.
Then the participants put a message like thanking and
Yeah, it's
excellent
natural.
session.
That's
Okay.
not any question specifically.
Okay. But I think. Okay, sir. I'm also searching and are you live? Somebody is in live. Who is
Yeah,
that?
please let them.
Manoj Kumar, I think.
Yeah, let him.
Mr. Manoj Kumar, please.
Yeah, please.
Hello.
Hello.
Please.
In your session, you told that gamma of zp cube and zp square, it is a complete graph.
Yeah.
So can anything for general p raised to n also?
Yeah, naturally we can have it. Because
So,
it is not complete graph, it must be partite sets.
okay.
Because if you take p power n, one hand you will get p power I, another hand you will get p power j.
Correct.
If you take product p power I plus j must be n, then only it will be the zero divisor.
Okay.
It is only n partite graph.
Okay.
P is adjacent with the p power n minus 1. P multiples are adjacent with the p power n minus 1. P square multiples are adjacent with the p power n minus 2 and so on so forth.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Sir, someone is asking about
cyclic graphs and zero divisor. What does they mean by cyclic graphs? I don't know. Cycles are cyclic graphs.
Okay, sir, someone is asking about
you can allow that participants via online or
okay, sir. Sir, already allowed.
Yeah. They can come into audio and
I think most of them are come.
Yeah.
Sir, there is some questions in the chat box.
Yeah.
Sir, someone is asking like, you really provided the necessary information to work in the topic. Is it possible to draw graph using other operations apart from the zero divisor?
Tomorrow I am going to talk about total. As I said, there are very many constructions. For example, there is a graph called comaximal graph. Two vertices are adjacent provided RA plus RB is equal to R. So that's what I say. You take either the full set or subset as set of vertices, and two vertices are adjacent through an algebraic property. So it could be either way, either multiplication or addition, or in fact, the Cayley graphs are viewed as graphs from commutative rings. Cayley graphs from commutative rings.
Okay, sir. Dr. P. Maheshwaran is asking about, can he connect domination concept with topological space?
No, I don't. What mean by topological space? He wanted to construct a topology, or I said topological indices. I never mean topological space. Do they really wanted to construct a topology out of it? I am not aware of.
Okay, sir. And Mr. Viknesh is asking about, if we take a complement of zero divisor graph in both graph theoretical aspects and its algebraic
graph, the complement of zero divisor graph is studied by several authors in the literature. There are papers.
Okay, sir.
Someone wanted to have, are there zero divisor graphs for modules? Yes, they are recently studied. In fact, they are the most general one, but there is a problem of how to define zero divisors in modules.
Okay, so someone is trying to ask some questions, so please.
Hamiltonian.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Hello.
Please.
Hello, ma'am. Can I ask?
Yeah,
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, I am audible.
Sir, I am Jamshina from Farooq College. I am doing research in algebraic graph theory.
Yeah, morning.
Actually, I want to know.
Mm.
I asked some question in the morning. Actually, this is related to you. Actually, I want to know whether is there any real life applications for you. In the beginning, you started about telling about the Cayley graphs.
Yeah,
There are so many graphs from intersection taking the ideals as vertices and like that. Generally, co-maximal and essential ideal graphs like that.
Yeah.
So, is there any relevance to the real life situations or any application is there?
You see, as I said in the beginning, Cayley graphs are studied only for the property of vertex transitivity.
Yeah.
Vertex transitivity has got a greater applications in the network theory. Vertex transitivity provides any work at one point can be transferred to other point without any problem with isomorphism. And there is a lowest lemma. Every two connected graph is vertex transitive. And it is only conjecture. And people wanted to disprove that. And people believe that this class of graphs will provide a chance for that. People are interested in vertex transitive zero divisor graphs and so on and so forth. There is a deeper concept in it. But real life application, only vertex transitivity, as of I know. Other things I am not familiar about.
Yeah, actually, when we are reading the papers, we can't see any application type in this type of graphs.
Your word of application. What do you mean is something?
I mean, actually, I think it's related to real life situations like
in a
that.
lighter vein, I put it for a joke. I put it. There is a quote in mathematics. As long as algebra is taught in schools, there should be prayers in the morning.
Okay.
It is a purest of pure subject. Definitely there shall be applications, but you should not have one sand transit, you will have applications. You see, in a mathematical modeling, you start with the assumption, you construct into mathematical concept, make it as a mathematical problem, you solve, solution is being interpreted for the real life problem. There are certain various stages are there. Just like that, you cannot do this immediate. It is not a machine of ice cream. Okay, just for there are
okay, sir. Okay, can you suggest any books related to in this topic?
No, there are no books as of now. Only papers are available. Some survey articles are available. You can correspond with me through email. I will be able to. There are,
okay, thank you, sir.
There are some 500 papers are available in this area.
Okay,
someone
thank you,
wanted
sir.
to have something geodesic or something. There is a question on geodesic. Can I recall the?
I can't. Sir, some other question from Miss Meera. She's asking about, can you give an idea about zero divisor graphs of gamma near rings?
No, that's not. Yeah, there is a paper by one of the student, but it is not a very fruitful area.
Okay.
I don't think, because gamma near rings are studied in various perspectives. It is a study by G.L. Booth. It has started with the operators of left operator, right operators. But in the recent days, gamma near rings are not studied in that perspective. So there are some apprehensions on that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. And
there is a question by Ganesha Murthy. And are there Hamiltonian properties are studied for zero divisor graphs? Yes, they are studied.
Okay, sir.
Geodesic, what do they mean by distance or anything? Somebody asked about geodesic.
Yeah, I think they mean by the distance between shortest
here
distance.
Every path is at most length 3.
Okay.
So yeah, it is at most length 3. So geodesic, I don't feel anything very special about it.
Okay, sir.
Somebody asked that for every positive integer n, there exists a commutative ring R such that the zero divisor graph is isomorphic to Kn. I don't think so. I don't think so. People have to look into that. I don't think so.
Okay, sir. And Mr. Murugan is asking about any geodesic topic. Okay, that's you already.
That's why just I was saying,
okay,
geodesic
okay,
means
okay.
what do you mean by geodesic number or geodesic path? It is related
That's
to the shortest paths.
There are more questions related to geodesic.
But I don't
Somebody
know
asking.
how it, but
Okay, okay.
I'm not very familiar about it. Somebody asks the IFR graphs. Yes, Sello Kumar and his students are doing something about the IFR graphs of commutative rings, and they have got a good number of publications in this area. But mostly they are studying about 3 zero divisor graphs. You see, if AB equal to 0, 2 element product is 0, that is called zero divisors. You make a product of k elements, and if the product is 0, none of the k minus 1 product is non-zero, they are called k0 divisors, and ultimately they are doing on this particular area. Zero divisor IFR graphs of commutative rings. Zero divisor graphs are being done.
Okay, sir. And
Semi-groups, yes, there is a author Kelirov. He has been consistently doing something on semi-groups. Similar studies are available, zero divisor graphs and so on and so forth in the case of semi-groups. But they are only limited because they have got only one operation, and ultimately, but there are limited study on semi-groups also.
okay. And another question from Shanti. She's asking that is it enough to study the graph by considering Zn alone?
No, no, definitely not.
Okay, sir.
Definitely not. Because I was mentioning on one occasion that we never consider only finite graphs.
Okay.
We consider infinite graphs also.
Okay,
of course, in this part of graph theory, people will study in this sequence. First finite, second finite meant not only Zn, finite rings, then local rings with unique maximal ideal, then Artinian rings, then infinite rings. So for all these classes are different, and the study is being executed finite, local, Artinian, infinite.
Sir, one question from Anthony. He's asking about what is the latest area in this algebraic graph theory related to semi-group?
Semi-groups, latest means, what do you mean by latest? I don't understand. No, people are doing some work. It is for you to go through the preliminary papers in that particular area, and you identify the problem, related literature, and thereby definitely you can continue with it. You have to start with the fundamental.
Okay, sir.
No concept of fuzzy. It's a meaningless in the case of this deterministic situation. No concept of fuzzy.
Okay.
Someone asks a fuzzy graph theory.
Okay. Someone asking about graph energy of zero divisor graphs.
This is a very contrast path of fuzzy and other things, because there is no weight function corresponding to elements here. So
we are all discussing about crisp concept, I think.
Yeah, we are in the very structured domain. We don't have a weight function all.
Anyone? So someone is online asking some question.
Yeah, please. Hello. You speak? Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Please. Your mic is wobbling. You please either reduce the volume and your mic is wobbling. You reduce the volume and talk in the mic or headphone, whatsoever.
Ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
There is a question in the meantime. Priyanka Shawarman. Yeah. Recently, there is a paper which talks about spectra of zero divisor graphs or commutative rings. Only one paper. Very, very recent. No, Sunil Kumar. Sunil Kumar. People have not reached that stage of EQ energetic and so on and so forth, because hypothetically finding eigenvalues and their related multiplicity is a very big task. maybe people have to continue. It's a very unexplored area. Someone wanted to speak.
Okay. Rajeshwari, still we are trying to connect to her.
Okay. Somebody raises the voice.
Sunitha ma'am is also.
Rajeshwari raising the hand. Dr. Abdul
Yes.
Salim.
She's trying to talk, but I think unable to connect.
Unable to connect.
Okay.
Somebody, yeah.
Sunitha Kumawat is asking me questions
somebody
like.
wants cryptography. I don't think no idea about it.
Okay. Hamiltonian connectivity
properties are studied and available papers are there. If anybody is more specific, they can contact me. Hamiltonian is studied. No, if anybody is really interested, they can contact me through email or anything. If they are interested, let them go through the preliminaries and start the research. Just don't say that some topic means which needs some type of preliminary and then come up. It can be done. Critical, we have studied some excellent properties in the case of zero divisor graphs. For example, if you take a comma set, I can remove any vertex and add something. Such a study is being made. Okay. Someone wants my email ID in the chat box.
Okay.
I think you can get it, or you can.
Okay, we will provide it.
Yeah, Dr. Sir. Yeah, coordinator shall provide. Email ID is available. Even otherwise, you can type my name and you can get it. I think you will get it.
Okay, we will send soon.
Yeah.
In the inbox, no problem, sir. And I think some of the question we missed because
labeling
that
is a good question. There is a question by Tony Agostini. Labeling in zero divisor graphs. Yes, it is studied for certain ZP, ZPQ, ZP power n, and so on and so forth, but not in general. There are very few studies in that. Of course, they are all subclasses of ZN. I don't mean what is Shanmuga Sundaram is asking. Do you know any graph diagram for zero divisor? I don't understand the question. If he wants, let him put it in a. Okay. What he mean by graph diagrams?
Please online. Anybody?
You contact me through email. I will give you specific problems. It is not just one line or one word.
Sir, next question from Rajeshwari. She's asking about.
Is she in line?
No. She's in chat box. Put some messages.
Networks.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't have any connection with that as of now.
So zero divisor graphs and interconnection.
It's a specific question. Chromatic number. Of course, that is what conjectured by Ivan Beck. The chromatic number is nothing but a number of minimal prime ideals, but it has been disproved. But for some known classes of zero divisor graphs, chromatic number is known. Boolean, there are very few study. It is for Boolean algebra, not for Boolean graph. I don't have anything about Boolean graph. Yeah, please. Anybody else?
Okay.
Someone wanted to have some finite near rings and examples of zero divisor graphs. Of course, there is a very classical study by James Clay. He has given a technique to list out all finite near rings constructible on a finite group. That's a very exhaustive computer study has been done even in year 1985 or 1980s through computer. all possible nearings in a finite group. Of course, physically, it has been listed out. Even in the case of diagonal group of 24 elements, it is more than 100,000. So there is a very classical algebraic tool is there through which you can do it. Interconnection networks, you see, it is not directly interconnection network, because interconnection networks uses addition. Probably you will be interested in tomorrow's lecture, where I will talk about total graph. They are directly linked with interconnection networks. Somebody asked, what do you, I don't mean divisor function and algebra. I don't follow.
Dear participants, the mail ID is already inbox. Please check. Sir's mail ID is already in the chat box.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let them.
Sir,
Please
there is another question.
And, please introduce yourself and write. I'll be able to tell what I know in that aspect.
Okay, sir. Next question is from Priyanka. She's asking about, sir, please give some suggestions for new. Okay, this already you gave. I think
Domain based zero divisor graph. Of course, tomorrow once again I will talk on additive graphs. There, even graphs for fields are studied by our own group.
Okay.
Integral domain zero divisor graph cannot be studied, but there are many other additive graphs which can be studied for this. Okay, that's a beautiful question. There is a paper under communication on Roman domination in these classes of graphs, especially Cayley graphs from finite commutative rings, which is under which is communicated by our group with one of the collaborators.
Okay, sir, someone is trying to come online.
Yeah.
Is that? Okay, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Reba, ma'am. Hello. Am I audible, ma'am? No, she's not. She's just sharing her screen, but not want to talk in thing.
She is not able to put on the mic or
some other is. Who is that one?
No, sorry. I am not familiar about fussy concept at all.
Okay.
Fussy.
Sir, Satya Selvarajan is online.
Yeah, please.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Am I audible to you? Satya Selvarajan? Satya?
No, he's not able to.
But she puts this symbol. She is in the online, but she has put on his mic, but we are not audible. No, now she's put off. Somebody.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, please.
Yeah, currently I'm working on weak Roman domination.
Please.
Weak Roman domination, sir.
Okay.
Are there articles related to Roman and weak Roman? There are many types of domination parameters like Roman domination, Italian domination, and weak Roman domination. Currently, I'm working on weak Roman domination. Are there articles relating to algebraic graph theory and weak Roman domination?
More specifically, I can put forth the fact that domination is not well studied in these classes of graphs.
Okay.
Something up to private domination, neighborhood, something like that only done. As you say, the weak domination or rainbow or these things are untouched.
Okay. So in domination, we use different types of concepts like removal of an edge called bondage number. Are there any study relating to algebraic?
I think there is a paper on bondage number for zero divisor graphs.
Okay, sir. Okay.
There is a paper.
Are there stable graphs in algebraic graph theory? That is, upon addition of a minimum number of edges does not alter the value of the graph. Are there any stable graphs or unstable graphs or the study related to this?
You please note that
Uh,
how the graphs are arrived, taking a commutative ring, coming to the graph, and you are doing something.
okay.
How will you add vertices? Where do they from? Already the input restricted the number of vertices.
Okay. Okay.
So the problem is, it is a transformation, something like derived from some input. The input is algebraic.
Okay.
The driven fact is discrete. The properties are studied through each other. The algebraic are interpreted in graph theory. Graph theoretical properties are in turn through algebraic. So your concept of adding the vertices means
Adding
you have
the
to
edges.
add to the original algebraic structure.
Okay.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's not an easy job, easy way.
But I am asking about
So
adding an edge to the existing graph only. I am not going to form another
you
graph.
see, you once again see that all possible edges are already added.
Okay.
You see, no more edges are possible. So the addition is not at all possible without adding vertices in the original ring and corresponding edges.
Okay, if a new vertex is added, are there
Where is the guarantee
possibilities?
that a new set is a ring?
Okay.
You see, algebraically, you for example, you take it. There is a ring of 10 elements.
Okay.
You add 4 elements. Now the resulting ring contains 14 elements. Whether you will consider addition modulo 14 or addition modulo 10?
Addition model of 14.
14 means already there is a graph.
Okay.
You see, you understand the point? So already Z14 is separately studied.
Okay.
So that is the case. So it's not directly possible. Someone wanted metric dimension. There are 3 papers published in metric dimension as of now.
Okay, so somebody asking about some Salih Mukhtar is asking about in algebra we talk about integral domain based on zero divisor. Is it applicable for graph?
No, for integral domain there is no zero divisor graph at all. It is an empty graph.
Yeah.
No vertex at all. So
Sir,
for
somebody
integral
is
domain,
online.
you cannot talk about zero divisor. Please.
Okay, sir. Sir, someone is online.
Yeah, please.
Mr. Sadiq Ali.
Yeah, he was in. Please put forth the question, Dr. Sadiq Ali.
Sir?
Yeah, please.
Sir, is it possible to find the chromatic number for zero divisor graph?
No, it is only hypothetically known in terms of some other algebraic property. It is not just like that. You see, algorithmically, it is not known. That is what
Not
initially,
possible.
Yeah, not possible. Initially, that is what conjectured by Ivan Beck, but unfortunately, it happened to be not true.
Ivan Beck. Mathematician name Ivan Beck.
Ivan Beck.
Okay, sir.
Of course, there are people who are doing to find, you see, some k to find a commutative ring with k as a chromatic number. There is a study of such constructive work is going on, but it is not complete.
Yes. Okay.
You see, does given k, does there exist a commutative ring R such that the chromatic number of the zero divisor graph is k?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, so construction is somewhat
okay,
right.
Sir.
Yeah, it is only the class of quotient rings play a role. Proper ideals and quotient rings.
Also, the domination parameters are not possible to find.
No, it is
all
possible.
The domination parameters.
You see, it is possible, but you should you are not able to give it as a number. I say,
yes,
you see, Redmond paper, the domination number of a zero divisor graph in general is nothing but number of maximal annihilator ideals. But you will ultimately ask, what is the number? Algebraically, it is not known. Number of maximal annihilator ideals. So it is only putting the doctor one pain in terms of other pain. So algorithms are not known. So because of the input is basically an
Okay, sir.
algebraic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sir. I think 1 or 2 persons are
Yeah,
also
please,
allowed.
please.
Okay. It's offline, and there is one question from Sri Lakshmi.
Yeah,
She's asking about, are there articles related to Roman domination and algebraic graph theory?
no,
Okay,
no
sir.
study is available as of now. I know as of now, Roman domination is studied about only 2 classes of graphs. One is unitary Kelly graphs of commutative rings. Another one is trace graph of matrices.
Okay,
But
thank you, sir.
both the papers are under communication only, not only by us, by some other group from Malaysia and Iran.
Okay, thank you, sir. And one question from Megha.
Yeah.
She's asking about any study about rainbow coloring in zero divisor graphs.
No. No.
Okay, sir. And somebody's asking about Metram. She already gave the answer, I think. And one is from Shanti. She's asking about, can you give an idea about using Zomata software to construct near rings?
Sonata is a software for algebraic structures. Suppose if we give a ring, all ideals are known, all prime ideals are known, all maximal ideals are known. It is for finding algebraic substructures.
Okay.
But it is not graph theory related. There is a software called GAP GAP. They are all to know about inner structures of any algebraic structure.
Okay. Sir, can you see Naveen Kumar put so many questions? Sir, in
Lucky edge labeling graph. You see, labeling itself is a problem. Even labeling is not completed for zero divisor graphs. Maybe you have to try. The man who knows labeling well, they can start the study. Even vertex labeling is not completed.
Okay, sir. And he's also asking so many questions related to
Labeling.
that. Leveling. Okay.
Labeling is only minimally studied.
Okay. Sir, I think almost all questions are over, and they also have the facility to put their queries in our Telegram group.
Telegram. Okay.
You are also there, sir?
Yeah.
Yes,
I have already registered.
yes, I seen. And I think we can stop the section here.
Okay.
And tomorrow, dear participants, tomorrow the first section is starting at sharp 10:30 a.m. and the session is handled by Professor Tamil Selvan sir, and his topic